Dear Heavenly Father, I just want to thank everyone for coming today. It's a new day, and I just want you to be with us in council to make great decisions. In your name, in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of minutes of the regular session of August 20, 2015.
So moved.
Second. If there are no objections, then motion carries. Petitions, communications, and public hearings. Phyllis Brown, 400 Johnson Avenue, wishes to address council concerning the cemetery.
Hi, I'm Phyllis Brown. Mr. Howe, Kathy Goins, Mayor, and City Council members. In 1999, my Wilsonburg Lions Club acquired the right to clean up an old cemetery at O'Neill, and this is out of the Clarksburg city limits. But I wrote to hundreds of people for help. I got financial help. We put up a fence around the cemetery. We've cleaned it up. But in the last couple of years, we've also acquired another cemetery right next door to it, which was the old Oddfellows Cemetery belonging to the Wolf Summit Oddfellows, who have since disbanded. But we were really lucky. We obtained money. And the money that we got was from oil and gas rights that were given to us by an individual who said they wanted to keep the cemetery up. So we've been very fortunate. We have the cemetery cleaned at all times. And shame on you, city, for not taking care of that cemetery that's on Main Street. I don't care whether it belongs to the DAR. I don't care whether it belongs to somebody. It's on Main Street. It's in downtown Clarksburg. It's not very big, but here you waited until the grass was waist high, and then you, city mayor, you went out and tried to help clean it up, and what a job. But if you'd had the city people out there cleaning it up all the time, it wouldn't have been a job. But get your city people out there, clean it up all the time. Be proud of the cemetery. Thank you.
Michael Kiefer, 422 Duff Avenue, wishes to address council concerning transparency and accountability.
Good evening, folks. I know I've come before and talked to you guys before about accountability and transparency and stuff like that. I'm sure a lot of you wish that I wouldn't anymore, but I'm not going away. Coming up with, talking to a bunch of people, we've come up with something I'm calling the Clarksburg Sunshine Act. And it's a three-part proposal to empower the citizens of Clarksburg and provide for more accountability and governance. Part one, I've brought this up before, is to amend the charter to include recall, referendum, and initiative, which the state of West Virginia allows through West Virginia Code 812-4. Any charter city to do that, they can amend their charter to include those three things. And I've gotten correspondence and information from every single person sitting up at that table up there with the exception of Mr. Howe, saying that they're in support of this, and I have since, I believe, February. And I keep getting told it's going to get put on a work session. I'm trying to accomplish it. We'll get through to this. We'll get through to this. We've gone 2 municipal elections, and nothing has come forward for this. What's the holdup? We propose that the City of Clarksburg, through the elected council, provide for amending the charter to include these provisions. Part 2 is financial disclosure. Clarksburg City public expenditures can and should be a matter of swiftly searchable public record. A publicly accessible web-based database of all expenditures, including receipts, updated no later than 3 weeks after the first Monday of each fiscal quarter, would provide for citizen accountability of public funds. The average citizen should have access to information, including receipts, for every expense their taxes support. Now, I pinch my money. I'm a poor guy. I've got duct tape on my glasses. I'll put it that way. I want to see that the city does the same thing, and I want that to be searchable by everybody. We propose that such a database be established under city ordinance and implemented as soon as physically possible. Part 3, public broadcast of council proceedings. While council meetings and work sessions are currently open to the public, a significant portion of the Clarksburg populace is unable to take advantage of this. The elderly, the disabled, those without child care, plenty of other taxpayers are unable to view the civil proceedings of the city of Clarksburg. These people deserve access. televising, or at the very least live webcasting of these meetings should be an immediate priority. Multiple council meetings have been standing room only. I mean, you wouldn't know it to look tonight. There's a little bit of room, but I've seen this place packed out into the hallway, and people want to see what's going on in their city. There's no reason this goal cannot be swiftly achieved. I know there's been talk in the past and motion in the past on getting things up in front of the public, and somehow that went nowhere. We propose that the city implement a plan for getting council meetings broadcast on cable access television and/or live broadcasting meetings on the internet. So 3 parts: referendum initiative and recall, financial disclosure, and getting these meetings broadcast would go a long way towards providing accountability, transparency, and maybe a little bit more belief in the openness of Clarksburg City Council government. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael, if I could respond to that. I would like a copy of your notes if that's possible, because Martin and I have spoken about this, and actually under council comments, I was going to bring this up. We have actually picked dates. Everybody works, so it's not easy to get everybody together and go through this. And making changes to the charter is very significant, and when we do it, we want to make sure we do it right. And so we have some dates that we're going to present to the members of council tonight, so that we could get together. It's going to have to be a 2-day session, because if we're going to review the charter and make changes, by God, we're going to do it right.
I find it astounding that progress on this only happens when it's brought up.
And so we're picking this date, and it's going to require an overnight stay, because we're going to get in this room and we're going to hash it out until it gets done. And unfortunately, it's at the taxpayer's expense, but that's what we have to do to get this done. And so later on in the meeting, we will present those dates and see what works best for everyone. I mean, that's just one of the items that we're addressing. We have several things we need to get addressed. And now that we're actually on track and can actually get some solid footing and address some of these issues, then that's what we're going to be doing. And I appreciate this, and we will take this into consideration as we go through that charter. This is one of many things we need to look at.
I appreciate that. I'll believe it when I see it.
Okay, I'm telling you, we're picking a date, and it's going to happen, and you're more than welcome to be there.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Margaret Bailey, 531 Milford Street, wishes to address the council concerning the Harrison County Senior Citizens Zone.
Good evening. It just seems so strange to be on this side, but I want to tell you, it's a delightful thing to see. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council, Mr. City Manager, Madam City Clerk, members of the administration, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Margaret Bailey. I live at 531 Milford Street, and I appreciate this brief time to discuss, I believe, an area of concern for our community, the Harrison County Senior Citizen Center. I first want to distribute these pictures. I took these just because I felt it was something that, I don't know if any of you have seen or noticed these before, but as you enter the building, these are on either side of the walls as you come in. This is a list of people on the right-hand side who helped donate monies, groups, to make the Senior Citizen Center what it is. There may be some on there. I know there's a mouth for Joe. This is the other 3 plaques, and I want you to take particular notice. And Mr. Lopez, you may want to notice this too, that your father was an integral part of developing the Senior Citizen Center. And one plaque says, financially assisted by Economic Development Administration, the County Commission of Harrison County, the City of Clarksburg, the George A. Kinley Estate, and he was an employee of the gas company and donated a large amount, the Claude Worthington Benedum Foundation, and the West Virginia Commission on Aging. So I would just like for you all to take note of these, because I think they're an important part that shows it took so many people, so many groups, to bring together the Harrison County Senior Citizen Center. I have held membership in this organization for over 20 years. I have served on the board of directors, and I have been honored to serve as president of the board of directors just a few short years ago. I have recently become aware of a change in the status of programs at the Senior Center when I read an article in the Exponent Telegram detailing the board of directors' decision to curtail the food program, blaming a lack of funds to continue the program, and today that it was a cultural change. When I left the board of directors, let me tell you, I recall assets in our bank accounts of several $100,000. And Mr. Lopez, you were a member of the board of directors, and I think you can probably remember that that was the status. Nearly $500,000. An audit of a year ago reveals that all of the assets are gone. And only about a year ago, $18,000 remained in a CD. I've since learned that now it's gone, and there is essentially nothing left. There's nothing in the bank accounts other than the dwindling available operating funds. I am very, very sad because this has been an important part of my life. Clarksburg is the only city in Harrison County that budgets money for the Senior Center. This year contributing $20,000. Where have the assets of the Senior Center gone? Where did the money go? Someone needs to be held accountable. The president of the board of directors is Councilman Bowden, the city of Clarksburg's representative. Gary, I well appreciate and respect our professional friendship, but these problems at the Senior Center appear to be out of control. The director and the board of directors appear to have let the seniors down. And for that, I feel you need to be held accountable with detailed explanations provided to the citizens across the county. Where's the money? Observations I've made. It has been publicly stated that the current director, Max Francis, said that he was only collecting half the salary of the previous director. $35,000 was listed in the paper, and then later again he apparently told people that it was $31,000. But I recall that the previous director was only making somewhere between $45,000 and $48,000. You can well see that half of that salary, if it were $48,000, is only $24,000, not $31,000 and not $35,000. The voters have approved levy funds for the center. Where's the money? 2014 audit findings apparently recognize the lack of adequate staffing, the lack of following sound financial record keeping and reporting, which indicates in the auditor's statement an increased potential for fraud and abuse. Now, I'm not making accusations. I'm only reporting these findings.
Margaret, I'll need you to start.
Thank you. I'm wrapping up here in just a minute. I can see that remodeling was done in the ballroom and the lobby that had previously been remodeled just only a few months before. Now the ballroom sits idle. Management blames the elevators. The elevator is old and needs repair. But occasionally, is anyone working with the county commission for its replacement? The ceramics department still has unpaid bills, even though the seniors pay for their ceramics pieces, and those funds are submitted to the finance director to pay bills from the supplier in full. An unpaid bill of over $1,000 remains, despite the administration being given the ceramic department funds for the amount due, full amount. Food service bills. Let me tell you this real quick. U.S. Food supplies the food for the kitchen for the people. There's a large bill to U.S. Foods that has not been paid, apparently. So they have sent people from their staff to Kroger's to purchase food to bring back for the people to cook, to serve to the people at lunch. Staff have been promised $1 a raise, an hour raise, but never happened. Longtime efforts from Charles Point developers and Mark's Constructions to move the senior center to Charles Point, as happened in the past. Is this happening again? Food service must be immediately restored in their fully equipped kitchen. The seniors indeed were upset when the meals were raised, and they tried to show that they were concerned and there was a plan, and they decided not to come to show the senior center. If we don't come, maybe you'll take the price of meals back down again. But it backfired. Not only did they raise the price of meals, they canceled the program. I'm asking that this council please be aware that huge problems exist for this facility. If this downward spiral continues, it will be a disaster for the seniors, the city of Clarksburg, and the senior satellites across the county. I'm asking that this council acknowledges the need for a full investigation into the financial status and its director, Max Francis, and their board of directors, who have apparently allowed these problems to develop and grow without intervention. We have recently encountered somewhat similar egregious financial problems with the YMCA, also under the management of Max Francis and their board of directors. I'm asking for support and direction for asking the questions that need to be asked to the senior director and the senior center board of directors. Where's the money? Today is not a great day to be in Clarksburg. Thank you.
City manager's report and update.
Under general update, the United States Postal Service, as I mentioned in the work session, they were considering relocating the retail services on Pike Street, and they do intend to stay in the downtown area. The retail specialist will be at the next scheduled meeting Thursday, September 17th, to review the relocation project. Under the paving project, Dock Construction is scheduled to begin paving beginning tomorrow, Wednesday, September 2nd, and Dock is also responsible for the contract to perform all traffic control this year, posting all the streets prior to the closure of those streets. So they should be out there tonight. And we do have those situated in 4 or 5 different phases of neighborhoods where those pavings will take place, so we're not jumping around the city in the past. Under our demolition, Landscape Plus did complete the demolition of 1401, 1403 North 19th Street. They are currently abating the property at 501 South 5th Street, and that should be completed probably by the end of this week, which they will then return to complete the demolition and raising of that structure at 501 South 5th Street next week. Under economic development, Kids Cycle Consignment, their grand opening and ribbon cutting was today at 1 p.m. So we do welcome them to downtown to Main Street. And then Pizza Hut at Anderson Commons, ribbon cutting is actually going to be Labor Day on Monday, September 7th at 3 p.m. So hopefully anybody can attend from the public and also the council to show you support. Under police and fire, all the applications were to be submitted by Monday, August 31st. We have received a total of 72 applications, 43 applications for the fire department, and 29 applications for the police, 8 of which have applied for both departments. So they will test accordingly throughout the process. The written test for both police and fire will be Wednesday, September 2nd at 6 p.m. at the Senior Center. And then for the police, the physical ability test will be Saturday, September 19th at 10 a.m. at RCD High School. And then for the fire department, we split those in two groups. If your last name is A through L, that the test will be October 3rd, and on September 26th. And if your last name begins with N through Z, then you will test on October 3rd. Also under police, the Edward Bryan Memorial, the Bureau of Justice Assistance Grant, we did get notification that we did receive a grant, the award of the amount of $13,053 to go towards the purchase of body cameras.
How many cameras will that buy?
It just depends on what you go with and what the price is at the time we buy. And then for the fire department, we did on a yearly basis, the Underwriters Laboratory does come in to test our ladder truck, and just to make you aware of it, it has passed the inspection, which was very delighting to hear, because on council prior to, in the past, we have had some mechanical issues with the ladder that are very costly when that truck does get issues. So we were very happy that there was only one minor thing we had to do with some leaky valves and things like that. But it did pass inspection, and we're happy to hear that moving forward.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
if I could ask, historically, do we have a percentage we can apply to those police and fire applicant numbers to give us a rough idea of how many truth prospects we would have
On the fire,
in
you
the
have,
end? Yeah, at the end
the
of
fire
all
will
the
have
testing.
a lot of the 43, depending on how many get through the physical ability test. But it's pretty strenuous for that one. On the police, because it is a more strenuous process we go through for background checks and all the other things we do, that will greatly dwindle. And I would be very happy if we ended up at 10 on that list.
On the police, and what did you say on fire? I'm sorry.
I didn't give you a number. I think out of 43, you probably have, what, 30? Yeah.
But we're in improved position
Well,
than we
the
were.
fire department, we never have an issue with their, we've never, the list will exhaust before the applicant's exhausted. We always, like in this instance, we're retesting, it's been 3 years, we're retesting. The police department, obviously, if we go through that list a little bit quicker, if we don't have the amount of applicants remaining on the list to choose. Both lists, we need 3 names to choose one, so it's mathematical.
Thank you.
Okay.
Unfinished business, consideration of second and final reading and public hearing of an ordinance of the city of Clarksburg providing for the relocation of an unopened 90-foot section of State Street, also sometimes known as Franklin Avenue, beginning at the intersection of Antonio Drive and the Riverside Addition section of the city of Clarksburg, Cole District, Harrison County, West Virginia, by means of the exchanging of a portion of the right-of-way of said unopened portion, 90-foot section of State Street, also sometimes known as Franklin Avenue, for an alternate route across and through adjoining lots of real property of the adjoining property owner, and authorizing the city manager to execute such documents as may be required to complete such relocation. Notices regarding the public hearing appeared in the intent to adjourn on 8/25 and 9/1.
So moved.
Well, we will now open this up for a public hearing.
Sorry, public hearing.
Anyone wishing to speak for or against may do so at this time. And we will close the public hearing.
Now, I'll move it. Second.
If there are no objections, then the motion carries.
Consideration of second and final reading and public hearing of an ordinance of the city of Clarksburg providing for the abandonment of an unopened portion of State Street, also sometimes known as Franklin Avenue, approximately 90 feet long, beginning at the intersection of Antonio Drive and the Riverside Addition section of the city of Clarksburg, Cole District, Harrison County, West Virginia, as shown on the petition and plat for said abandonment on file in the city clerk's office, providing for findings of fact in connection with said abandonment, authorizing the execution of the proper quitclaim deeds and reserving therefrom utility rights of way. Notices appeared as previously stated.
We will now open this up for public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak for or against may do so at this time. We will now close the public hearing.
Move we approve the ordinance.
Second.
If there are no objections, then the motion will carry.
New business, consideration of a resolution of the city council of the city of Clarksburg authorizing filing of an application with the West Virginia Department of Transportation, West Virginia Division of Motor Vehicles for a highway safety grant in the amount of $671,500.
I'll make the motion that we accept Madam Mayor, I'll make the motion that we accept the resolution as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? If there are no objections, then the motion carries.
Consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contractual agreement with the Division of Justice and Community Services to receive and administer a justice assistance grant in the amount of $20,000 for prevention resource officer at Robert C. Byrd High School.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just wanted to quickly state that I'm glad that we're going to have a PRO in Byrd. That's a
Yes.
good thing, so.
Very good thing.
As well, when I was running for council, that's one of the big things I was an advocate for, so I'm glad to see this happen.
Any further discussion? If there are no objections, then the motion carries.
Consideration of approval of
fairly significant withdrawals. Is that because of the turnover in staff? Okay. I mean, it just seemed like more than would be typical of that type of a retirement
We've
account.
had several more in the fire, I mean, in the police than we have in the fire. Very seldom.
Yeah, it was not nearly as much in fire.
And we're required to.
Yeah, okay, so they're taking that with them
Yeah,
when
we're
they leave.
required to give them their refund of all their
Okay,
contributions.
that's what I thought that
But
was.
not any of the city's contributions, just theirs.
I understand, yes.
Any further discussion? If there are no objections, then the motion carries. Council comments? I'll start real quick. You might have noticed a little difference in how we did the agenda. For those of us that went to the Convention and Visitors Bureau retreat, we actually got to have a session with John Sorrenti from the auditors of the state tax office. And he gave us a little seminar on Robert's Rules of Order. And a lot of what we did tonight was the rules established for small boards, which would be 15 members or less. And so we're going to start implementing that, and that's another brief part of our retreat that we're going to have when we all get together. And while we're talking about that, Martin and I came up with 2 days. Because this session was about 2 or 3 hours. Robert's Rules, John Sorrenti. So we're going to need a
Very good book.
2 full days, or at least a day and a half. And we came up with October 4th and 5th, that's a Sunday and a Monday, and October 11th and 12th. So I don't need to know tonight, but if you could get back to us so that we could get the speakers, because I know John's been around the state a lot, and that's a free service that the tax department provides, so we want to be able to accommodate his schedule. So anyway, and the other thing, Greg, if you could look at our codified ordinances to determine when we go to that work session, what we can do and can't do under Robert's Rules, because you had mentioned we reference Robert's Rules, and we're looking at the small boards, 15 people or less,
Well, see,
or under the administrative code.
and I don't know about this person's presentation. I'd be interested in listening to that. We do not run strictly by Robert's Rules.
Right,
Robert's Rules is sort of a fill in the blank for us.
right.
And the thing that Robert's Rules does not take into account is the Open Meetings Act. In other words, there are state law requirements that supersede Roberts that we must adhere to. In other words, under Roberts, somebody can make a motion about any subject whenever they want. And if you read Roberts, it's geared that way. Obviously, we cannot do that under open meetings. We have our agenda requirements, and it has to be out, which is all part of transparency. And there's some other things like that. And actually, we are also superseded by our own administrative code in the ordinance book. And I think it's been a while since I've looked at it, but Annette's shaking her head. I believe there's a specific provision in it that says Robert's Rules fills in where these rules don't. And we modify Robert's in any number of ways there. And so, but so I don't know what this person's going to say, but I'd probably have some things to chime in about a presentation like that.
Well, I think it's worth looking at
sure.
and seeing what.
Madam Mayor, I might add that, he mentioned that he's been a county commissioner and served several offices. So presumably, we could steer him toward this assembly, and I think he would know at least some of what.
I think he was on city council too.
He might have, he might have been, yeah. So, I mean, he should understand some of the nuances between Robert's Rules and what we're required to do under open meetings.
Sure, the only point I want to make is that Roberts is not a be-all and end-all.
Right, yeah, and he admits that, and we understand that.
All right.
But we do want to have him in the retreat because he was very
I'm
helpful.
not attacking the man at all.
No, I understand. But,
I'm just saying in our context, it's.
well, and that's, why I mentioned it,
Sure.
because it is tied back to our administrative
Right.
code. So, okay. And just real quick, I want to thank Vice Mayor Jim Malcolm, our city manager, my husband Rick, Charlie Sigmund, Chad's dad was out once again, Brandy Sauerwein, and these accolades, so be it. So that concludes my comment.
Well, took my part of my cake, and I want to thank everybody, too. I'd like to thank everybody for showing up tonight. Just remember that this is the weekend of the Italian Heritage Festival, and it's a holiday weekend. I wish everybody a safe and wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to echo a lot what Margaret said, because I was a member of the senior board for 9 years. And I don't know where the changes came along, but we was always financially sound down at the senior center. But taking the lunches away from people that sometimes that's the only place they can meet. Because when I was on the board, we had some board members that wanted to put the whole pile of money together. County commission, there's satellites all through the county. People understand that. And county commission gives them checks too. Well, we had members that wanted to put everything together. Well, don't take a rocket scientist to figure out what the hell's going on. And so I said, we had the votes then to stop that. Because those people, that's people in Sardis that are 80 years old, can't drive to Clarksburg. So they needed, because they were trying to drum up membership for the Clarksburg Center. That, if you want to call it a clubhouse, that's what I call it. It's activities for seniors to have something to do to fill their space time, their idle time in. And lunchtime was a big thing. Dinner, the lunch was the biggest thing, because a lot of them could get out at that time. And I know that they said something about in-home health care. Well, believe me, you're not making money in home health care at the senior center, because a lot of them don't pay. Because the people you go see can't afford to pay somebody. I know you get funded by the federal government, and that's fine. But the lunches, some of those people, that's the only thing they do every day. I don't know where the money went or how it was, but when we left the senior center, we built I don't know if everybody knows the whole thing. The front building's owned by the county commission. The back building, the senior care and the senior center joined forces about 15 years ago. That's where the back building came into play. Okay, but every time, over and above the levy, we'd go to the county commission. If they needed a new floor, the county commission put it in their funds and paid it for the senior. I don't know if that's going on now or not, but that's what they used to do. When the roof needed fixed, the county commission would do it for the senior center. When the air conditioning needed fixed, or we need a new one, the county commission would do it. We had delegates that used to bring us extra money to the Clarksburg Senior Center. Now, if that's going on, I don't know. But when they said they hired this one person, he was supposed to go out and get money to put the senior center back in rep. Well, we never had a problem before, because the people on the board and our administrator knew the people to contact to get the money. I seen the last two budgets that were in the red. It was heartbreaking, because I don't understand what's going on down there. But like I said, when I was on the board, there was plenty of money to do whatever. We always gave employees pay raises. The ballroom was always being used. So I don't know where it turned or how it turned, but if I was a board member on that board, I'd be discussing with myself right now about what's going on down there. Because there needs to be change somehow. I don't know what you do if you're too far in the hole. I don't know, because I never looked at the numbers, but it's responsibility. It's responsibility, and we have responsibility to the seniors of this county and city of Clarksburg.
Yes, we do.
And it starts at the senior center, because that's all they have to do. And the only thing that upset me too in the paper is that they talked about the bionutrition. They don't have no room over there.
No, they don't.
They don't have room over there. We try to do stuff with the bionutrition before. There's no room over there. But then you hear that their administrator wasn't even talked to before that hit the newspaper. When the newspaper went to interview them, they didn't even know nothing about it. You don't treat seniors like that. I don't care what people, you them home health care, keeping that building open. Well, if that's the case, we won't be here next month. Because I know people are not paying for home health care in care house. And that's fine. I mean, but don't take away the lunches from the seniors. That's all I'm asking. Thank you. That's all I have.
I just want to thank everyone who came up and spoke about the issues that are that really concern the public. Margaret, Mr. Kiefer, and I think it's great. We're going to get a date set. Stone, the charter. And what was your name again?
My name's Phyllis Brown.
Phyllis Brown, I really appreciate you coming and speaking. So, again, it should never get to that point where it has to be maintained. And hopefully now it will be on a continual basis. But individuals like you coming up and speaking keeps others.
Well, you know, when I read it in the paper, it looked like you were cleaning up for the Italian festival because strangers and visitors were coming in. And I said, here we go again, because, you know, that could have been taken care of all year. You know, how easy that would be.
And I hope that will continue.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out here tonight. And as some have already mentioned, the County Heritage Festival this weekend, it's one of my favorite festivals of the year that we do here in Clarksburg. It's a great childhood memory for me going there with my mom and dad. Now I can take my kids, and so I'm looking forward to it this weekend. As far as the Senior Citizen Center goes, I have to echo Margaret and Zeke's comments on this. I'm just going to tell a real quick story. When I was a small child, my grandmother used to do Meals on Wheels, and she would drive around to places where people needed food delivered, older people, and I would help her to unload those meals. She talked to me about how it's important to take care of those who had done so much for our society and our country and our state and our community, and now needed help themselves. And years went by, and eventually my grandmother got older, and she had people that brought her meals when she needed it. And how a society treats its senior citizens is a measure of how good a society we are.
Yes.
And we have a moral obligation to take care of those who have given so much to our community over the years and have sacrificed and worked alongside us. And now we have a moral duty to take care of them. And so I would encourage us to do whatever we need to do to make sure that those meals are still there for them. And I also just want to say that as to what you brought up, Michael, I'm glad that we're going to get initiative referendum and recall as part of the many charter issues that we discussed in the open work session. It makes me very happy that we can do that. I also would support televising council meetings and putting more financial information on the internet whenever council wants to take those up.
Thank you.
And I want to thank Councilman Chad Sigmund for his mural project and other things he's been doing to help beautify the city out of his own pocket. I just really want to thank him for taking the bull by the horns there on some things. And I just want to hit on a couple of high notes for the end of my comments. I was at the kids cycle consignment ribbon cutting earlier today. I'm glad to see another great business moving into Clarksburg, and Pizza Hut is having a ribbon cutting on Labor Day, and anyone that's met me knows I like to eat, so I'm glad to see Pizza Hut come to town. And the last thing I'll say is that many people know that I volunteered with Harrison County Juvenile Drug Court for a number of years, and it's a free program. It's run by the Harrison County Circuit Courts, and we take referrals from anybody. If you know a child up to age 21, actually, so even a young adult that is starting to head down the wrong path, they haven't really gotten deep into the drug culture yet, and they need somebody to kind of help turn their life around. It's a free program. You can see me or one of the other people involved to refer a child for that, and we have an incredible success rate. Over 90% of the kids that complete our program do not reoffend.
It's a great program.
Do you have material on that? I'm a teacher, and
I will get you material.
Pardon?
I will get you material, absolutely. And that's it for my council.
I too would just welcome everybody to the Italian Festival. It's probably one of the biggest events we have in our downtown, and I know a lot of work goes into it from a lot of people, a lot of volunteers, and frankly, a lot of our administrative staff. Our Public Works Department does a great job in trying to keep these fairs and festivals going and neat and clean and pick up afterwards, and obviously it's a big task for our law enforcement as well, and we appreciate what they do. Let me add, because we don't meet again for 2 weeks, the following weekend is the Black Heritage Festival, correct? And for the first time ever, it's going to be held in downtown. There are events, entertainment will be held on the courthouse steps, much the same as the Italian Festival, and it affords a great opportunity for them to gain a lot more attention. I know for many, many years they loved being down there with the Kelly Miller Building, and frankly it was not, from everything I've heard, an easy decision for them to leave that venue, but they're very excited about coming to downtown, and I wish them the best as well. I don't know at this point, Greg, whether you can enlighten us, because it's relatively new, but the lawsuit that we read about, I guess it was today, do you have any insights at this point about the suit filed on behalf of or by Bantam House?
All I know is what I read in the paper.
Okay.
I've not seen a copy of the suit papers as far as I know.
Because the new facility is in the city of Clarksburg, correct? The planned
As far as I
facility?
know, we've not been searched.
And it's not uncommon for Bantam House or business charities in any community they're opposed to competing in, it's either vice versa. They always sue each other just as a tactic to try to get people.
Has the new facility been started yet? Is it
Yeah.
construct- I thought so, okay.
Yeah.
All right, no, that's all. Thank you.
We're going to have to take a look at it and figure out the defense, but I mean, that was, I don't really want to say anything.
Okay.
The only thing I'd like to add, that I too, support Margaret in her quest, and I'm not sure what role the city will play in this, Margaret, but I do feel that there are some questions, obviously, that need answered. Appreciate your bringing it to our attention. Not that we didn't know about it, but thank you for your time. I'd also like to make mention that August, at the first Italian festival, Sherry and I were married, and so you know how long now I've been married. So looking forward to the Italian festival as well, Black Heritage Festival, and how many years? 37 years? 37. She's not here now.